Everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone 16 Pro and compare it against the iPhone XS Max and see which particular iPhones are the better ones for you. Now, I will probably tell you in almost every single way, the iPhone 16 Pro is probably going to be the better iPhone for the everyday average person than the iPhone XS Max. But if you want to go and pick up either one of these phones for the cheapest prices I find, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside, the iPhone XS Max, which came out back in 2018, on the front side of this phone is basically giving you a very large 6.5-inch Super Retina OLED display. Now with this type of panel, I thought it was a good display when it first came out, like it was very, very big, it looked very sharp, and I definitely do like having a panel like this. You can kind of tell for yourself. It's a very good looking panel, right? Now, is it perfect? No, but I do think if you're going to go through and buy a phone, like this thing has the notch up top, it's still a fairly large display. I think it has a lot of stuff going for it. And I do think that kind of stuff is very cool, right? It's not a perfect panel, but I do think it still gets good amount of ratings, but it's definitely not perfect by any means necessary. 60 hertz, pretty basic panel when it kind of comes down to it. With something like the iPhone 16 Pro, on the other hand, this is definitely a far better display. The 16 Pro, you're getting a bigger sized, or not a bigger size than the XS Max, but it's bigger than its predecessor. It's a good size 6.3-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. So with something like the iPhone 16 Pro, you're basically getting things, that a lot of other phones like the iPhone XS Max from 2018 weren't getting. So things like a 120 Hz ProMotion display you're getting inside of this phone, which is amazing. You're also maintaining things like, fairly thin bezels, dynamic island at the very front as well. This is a very, very good looking display, and I definitely do think if you're going to go ahead and buy a phone with something like the iPhone 12 Pro or 16 Pro, this is a significantly better phone without a doubt. It's also brighter than the iPhone XS Max as well. From the rest of the bodies, you can kind of see that the iPhone 16 Pro looks very, very good. It's flat-sided, so it's a little bit different than the iPhone XS Max. With the iPhone XS Max, you're basically getting this curved side to it. With the iPhone 16 Pro, you're basically getting this action button at the very top, which is really nice. At the top, you're not really getting anything. At the bottom, you're getting a lightning port, which is nice. You're getting a USB Type-C port on the bottom of the iPhone 16 Pro, which is a really, really nice thing to have. I love having USB Type-C, and it is by far one of the nicer features inside of the 16 Pro, and it is a really nice thing to have. That in and of itself would make me upgrade probably. On the other side, the 16 Pro is basically giving you this USB Type-C, or a camera button on the 16 Pro. You're also getting the power button up top of the both, but the camera button is a really nice feature to have. On the back side of both, you're getting glass backs, but they are slightly different. The 16 Pro is giving you this, frosted glass back right here, which is really nice. The iPhone XS Max is giving you a glass back, a standard glass back, wireless charging on both. You're getting MagSafe capability on the back of the iPhone 16 Pro, which is really nice. And overall, when you're looking at both these phones, they're both very solid, right? I definitely do like both these devices. They're both very, very good. But if you are trying to get the phone that's going to be the better one here, clearly I think the iPhone 16 Pro is probably going to be the better device that might be the better one for the average everyday person. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there, to be honest. Now, when it comes down to the performance, or when it comes down to the software longevity, this is a very interesting thing because with something like the iPhone XS Max, this phone is on iOS 18, right? That is something that I like a lot about this type of device. But the thing with the iPhone XS Max you have to remember is that this phone's not going to be lasting forever, and there's a very high likelihood the XS Max is probably going to be ending off on iOS 18. So if you're wanting the iPhone that's going to last a longer amount of time, it really isn't going to be the iPhone XS Max. The 16 Pro is by far going to be the better one here. So if you're, like I said before, wanting the phone that's going to last a longer amount of time, it's going to be the 16 Pro. The XS Max is probably going to last the rest of the iPhone, it's going to last the rest of iOS 18. But after that, it's probably not going to last that much longer. So just kind of keep that in mind when it kind of comes down to it. Now let's go and do a speed comparison between both of these phones. The iPhone XS Max has at Apple a 12 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigabytes of RAM, where the iPhone 16 Pro is basically giving you that Apple A18 chipset inside of it with 8 gigabytes of RAM. And I'm trying to go and trying to change these applications, but this phone's glitching all over the place. So let's go and see which one is the faster one between both. Okay, there we go. All the apps are clear in the background. Let's get into it. Phone calls 3, 2, 1. Okay, 16 Pro is faster. Music 3, 2, 1. Okay, 16 Pro again is the faster one. iPhone XS Max just a little tiny bit slower. Hopping out of these two. Photos 3, 2, 1. The iPhone 12, 16 Pro was the faster one. iPhone XS Max a little bit slower. Camera 321. Okay, two different pop-ups here for the most part. Let's go and hop out of these two. Let's go and do mail 321. A little bit of a delay on the XS Max, as you may have probably been able to see. That was also another interesting thing kind of going on there. Apple TV 321. Okay, to get into this pop-up was significantly faster on the iPhone 16 Pro. iPhone XS Max still loading. It usually wouldn't take this long, so I don't want to give the impression it's going to be super, super long like that, but that wasn't longer than I thought. Podcast 321. And again, the 16 Pro faster. App Store 321. I did open it up on this one first, but still, even there, it was like faster on the iPhone 16 Pro. And this is exactly what I want. I want the iPhone 16 Pro to be the faster one here almost every single time. Settings 321. Again, 16 Pro is the faster one. Let's go and do something like Files 321. Okay, again, faster on the 16 Pro. Tempo Run 2, 3, 2, 1. And I would probably tell you in basically every single application, even in this minor speed test, you're probably going to see the iPhone 16 Pro being the faster one here every single time. And like I said before, that's exactly what you want to see. You want to see a phone like the iPhone XS Max, being slower, just because of the performance differences and just the improvements that you're going to be getting inside of the iPhone 12 Pro Max. Like that really is a really, really big thing here. Even getting into the gameplay here, you should be able to see some pretty big differences here as well. So something like the iPhone XS Max, you can see the 16 Pro, there's already some glitches here, so I think that in and of itself is a very big thing to keep in mind. Facebook 321. Again, iPhone 16 Pro faster, XS Max a little slower. Subway Surfers 321. And you can see right here, again, the 16 Pro is the faster one. Just even getting into the game, it's like significantly faster. And I just opened it up and loaded it on here too. But you can see, when you're going through and kind of comparing these things side by side, you're definitely almost every single way going to be getting a faster, better performing phone on something like the iPhone 16 Pro than the iPhone XS Max. So without even having to go and test other applications, I can definitely tell you, just take my word for it, the 16 Pro is significantly faster without a doubt. And it's also a smoother phone as well. From the camera side, as I mentioned before, triple camera setup on the iPhone 16 Pro, dual camera setup on the iPhone XS Max, 4K 60 on the back. The iPhone 16 Pro can do 4K at 120 frames on the backside though. The iPhone XS Max can only do 1080p at 60 on the front, so keep that in mind. The camera quality of something like the iPhone XS Max though is still fairly good. I wouldn't say it's a bad camera. It still is a very, very good quality lens. You're getting 10x zoom right over here, zooming out only 1x zoom. Video mode, slow mode, time lapse. You're also getting things like portrait mode and panorama mode. This is still a pretty solid type of experience to be able to get inside of this type of phone. And I do think, as I mentioned before, if you're going to go through and get a device, it definitely is not a bad experience, right? It still is a very, very good type of device when it comes down to it. But it's not that great. The 16 Pro, on the other hand, is giving you a better type of quality. So number one, it's giving you this camera button, which is really cool. So you can go through and zoom in and zoom out with this type of camera, which is genuinely very, very nice. And you can change it to do other things as well. You're also getting 0.5x zoom, which is really big. I love having 0.5x zoom when you have it on this phone. You're also getting things like, cinematic mode, slow mode, time lapse. You're also getting, spatial mode as well at the very end. So I do think this in and of itself is another very nice thing going on for this type of phone too. So if you're trying to look for the better phone here in almost every single way, definitely, in my personal opinion, a device like the iPhone 16 Pro is probably going to be the better one here, right? Better display, better camera quality, better performance, just a better looking device, just USB Type-C, longer lasting phone. This is a very, very big upgrade coming from the iPhone XS Max in almost every single way. The only reason I would keep an iPhone XS Max is if you want to save as much money as possible. But even then, if you're still wanting to get a big upgrade, you could also go from an iPhone XS Max to something like an iPhone 13 Pro Max, that's already a couple years old, and you can get a really solid upgrade with that phone as well, which is something I really, really like within these phones. So take it as you will, but that's kind of how both these phones kind of compare. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video.